is a 128-12. So clerics had the consistency coming into this. Swanee with the better peak so far. They come into this first armor shop, purchase a hammer. Hammer is going to turn into armor, because that's the way this game works. You turn weapons into armor, armor into weapons, and you get some pretty good stuff that way. Now, obviously, we have both of these runners off to the race. PSP version added some cutscenes, some different features. Among those features was bonus dungeons. With those bonus dungeons came bonus equipment, and we take advantage of that bonus equipment with the equipment glitch to get endgame equipment without ever having to touch that kind of thing. Because we don't have time for that. This is a speedrun. Hope everybody's having a good evening. If so, give me your hype emote of choice, chat. So a minute in, we have good armor and head up to this depleted, rundown shrine. Random encounters along the way. We're not too worried about these things. With the armor our runners have, they won't be taking damage from anything. You're more worried about status effects, but this early in the game, there's just no status effects that are of concern. We need one treasure chest out of here. It is going to be this one that Swanee picks up, and it is one of the most important things you pick up on the run. Well, of course, everything has a dedicated purpose. This is an execution-based run. They know the route they're taking, and now they're actually executing it as fast as they can. So this helmet actually ends up becoming a weapon, of course, because it inverts, and it's the Judgment Staff. The Judgment Staff is going to be a sufficient weapon for us to whack things over the head with right now. But more importantly to the course of the run, that Judgment Staff will enable us to cast Flare, which is the highest black magic spell. So that will be used throughout to get through some encounters that we can't run from. But Garland, we're not worried about Garland. We're just going to whack him over the head a couple times and all will be well. Yes, because we're able to take out Garland in one round of melee, it's faster to do that than use the Judgment Staff. We're saving the spell animation. It's a very nice damage spell, but the spell animation length is quite annoying, and you want that eating up as little of your time as possible. Both runners with Garland down by 3 minutes and 10 seconds. And in thanks, the king will build us a bridge. Ultima is not until FF2. We're only in FF1. Alright, so we find out that these are very good bridge makers they have here. Unfortunately, it's not a toll bridge. Final Fantasy I, it blocks your progression periodically. It just locks you into a geographic area so that you have to go to the right places. Once the bridge is built, we have access to the second town of the game, which will be off to the east. You also have access to one other location, but we don't need it right now. So while we have a minute here, see, as far as this series itself goes, GreenCleric took down the first race with a 128 to a 130. Second race was where Sawneyrath came back, picked up a win. And then third race was yesterday between these two, GreenCleric picking up the win in that one. As far as who these runners are, Swanee has got a lot of Final Fantasy in his repertoire. Also has a fairly recent world record at Tetris Plus. And GreenCleric, no stranger to randomizers, so if you're ever around randomizers, you probably see GreenCleric. A lot of these random encounters, just not any particular concern to us. They're not going to do any damage through that armor that we've picked up. Everything we're able to run away from, and there's no status effects yet that will be of any consequence to us. But they will be showing up soon. Right now, it's just a question of how many encounters will slow these runners down. They're going to get into Provoco right up step in step, pretty much. So you have a couple variations here. GreenCleric goes for the fight first. Sawney is going for the shop first. The reason for that being NPCs will spawn after the pirates are defeated that are not there. So it's theoretically the exact same step count because you have to make that trip either way. But there's no chance of a particular NPC getting in your way. So that's the difference between them. And now Sawney gonna get past the pirates with that judgment staff. Cleric's already finished it. And gonna get the ship. So Sawney has actually already made up a little bit of time here. Because Cleric got in that fight first. Oh my! That is exactly why Sawneyrath does that route divergence. That is exactly the reason right there. The NPCs boxed Cleric in. He could not advance to the shops. And they were a thing. They were very much in the way. So that's just RNG. They won't go there by default, or everybody would use that route that Sawney took there, but that is the reason. Now, it's not much in the scheme of the whole run. In fact, GreenCleric's going to be, looks like the first one to get into Elfland here. The ship is very nice for travel because there'll be less encounters on the sea than on land. I say that as, of course, he gets another one, because why wouldn't he? So Elfheim is where Cleric will go about his shopping. It's a very important town to us for some spells. It is also important for picking up those gold needles. They are the cure to the stone status. We will be facing that status attack in a couple of places throughout the game. So it's better to have those for when that occurs. In this section of the game, we start getting introduced to status attack effects. So when an enemy with that status effect attacks, it can apply it to your party member that is attacked. They're single target, and they follow the hit rate of the enemy. So a couple come up at this stage of the game. Notably will be the poison touch. It'll be very obvious when that happens. Also notably is the stun status, which is, it's hit or miss how threatening that is. Early on, we generally don't see a party stun lock, but if you do see a full party stun lock, that is a nightmare scenario. And mainly because we don't have, when it's a single target attack and we don't have that many enemies to a group right now, it's pretty rare to see that in the early game, but it can certainly be annoying. If you take 2 of your party members down to stun and you only have 2 of them to run away, you've halved your odds getting out of the fight. And obviously right now, running away is a big part of our strategy. Being because it's faster to run away, typically speaking, and also the experience is just not needed, not at this point of the game. Here in the Marsh Cave, we are worried about exactly one treasure chest. That one will contain the crown, which is our next plot item. And it will also introduce us to one of our early unrunnable encounter formations. Guarding this crown treasure chest, as this is a great run, by the way, for GreenCleric up to this encounter. That was a nice long walk without an encounter. Healing up before this fight, this will be the unrunnable Pisca demons. Gets 3 of them. They hit, that's about all they do, other than resist elements. They'll resist fire and ice. They do not resist lightning, but the Judgment Staffs are our best answer. Also being non-elemental, they won't resist that. So Cleric picks up the crown at 1044. Sawney not far away. But you do have to get there first. Oh, Sawney got thrown off on his count because of that encounter. He went into the wrong room, so a little misstep there. Also drawing 3 of the Pisca demons. Yeah, that... especially with the zoomed in that you get on the PSP version instead of the NES version, those sections of the dungeon look absolutely identical, so you do have to pay careful attention to where you are. Where Cleric is outside the Marsh Cave, heading up to our next section of the game. Got ambushed by the wolves, which means all of the wolves will attack before Cleric. Nice thing about the unrunnable status of the Pisca demons is they will not ambush you. Unrunnables do not ambush, so that is a benefit. Both runners keeping it close in this early game. Cleric with the series advantage just needs one more to put this away, so you expect a pretty conservative game. Sawney might be feeling the need to gamble at some point. We shall see. Yeah, you will see gaps move a lot based on the RNG of the encounters. Sometimes it's the rate, sometimes it's how successful you are running away from them, and sometimes it's what they actually do in the fight that matters. But what matters right now is getting through the Astos fight. Melee attack for Cleric is the dream. Sawney gets it as well. So you will see Astos go down round 1 for both of these runners. And they both got the RNG dream against Astos for him to attack. Astos has an instant kill spell. The worst thing he can do is use that on your Black Mage. Also, the melee attack is faster than sitting through a spell animation. So both of them are quite happy with their Astos RNG on that fight. We get the Crystal Eye. Obviously, that is going to be the next plot item. And we have to take it back to that area that I mentioned was the other one opened up by the bridge that we didn't need before. Well, now we needed it. You're talking about probably an encounter difference between the two of them right now. The way this game handles encounters, you do not know when you will face your next encounter. You do know that the likelihood of your encounter goes up with every step until a point where you will absolutely get one. That will vary based upon the zone. Game has 5 of them, and this overworld obviously is one of the lower zones. But we're getting plenty of early encounters. So already we've seen what a difference using the equipment glitch makes in this version of the game. I like to describe the different versions this way. In the PS1 version, they gave the game a fresh coat of paint. In the PSP version, they really more reimagined the game and modernized how they wanted to do it. Then, of course, they broke it even more with the equipment glitch than the NES version ever conceived of being broken. But hey, we have fun with it that way. So things like these low-level spells that we purchase, they matter all the way to the end game because they'll actually scale with the stats of our party. So you have these spells that we purchase in Elfheim being relevant into the final dungeon. GreenCleric, the first one into the Witch's Cave here. She needs the crystal eye to be able to see. And once we give it back to her, she will reward us with the Jolt Tonic. Now we're ready to head back to the Elf Prince and, I don't know, have a LAN party, something like that. Now the Jolt Tonic will allow us to awaken the Prince from Astos' curse, which put him to sleep. So he needs energy to wake up. It's also going to be our next step for the equipment. We'll be making a couple changes there. Of course, we have to get through the encounters to get there, and this has been a very active early game. Nothing's threatening, but the encounter rate has just been one of the worst I remember seeing in this tournament. Other than actually in Marsh Cave, that one was pretty friendly to the runners. Everything else, with the Prince awakened, he will give us the Mystic Key. The Mystic Key unlocks treasures throughout the world. We're only interested in just a couple. The first of them being right here at Elf Castle. You gotta respect that they actually lock their treasury. Not every castle in RPGs thinks to do that, but they did. So this becomes the Thief's Armlet, which we're going to equip onto the helmet, armor, and gloves spot. It has the benefit of giving us those stat bonuses that you see flash in yellow real quick across the screen. And we like stats. Stats are good. Stats help us in many ways. The next stop is going to be the Cornelia Treasury here. This has our next plot progression item, which is the Nitro Powder. Obviously, a big part of this run is your ability to do the menuing for this equipment glitch. So, Swanee, on that step now, finishes it up, and we'll be heading north. Cleric has definitely gotten a lead going right now. Biggest difference at this point to tell the gap between these two runners is going to be when we see our first of the 4 fiends. The big guy is attempting to stun our party members. Not having any success at it, but that's what he's trying to do to Cleric. You'll only see a maximum of 2 of the big eyes on the sea, though, so you're not under too much threat. They're a very weak enemy. I almost wonder if it would be worth whacking the single one on the head just to be out of it faster. It'd be faster than a failed run, but obviously you don't know you're going to fail the run when you try. So, Cleric is out of that. Gonna give Narek the nitro powder, and we're gonna get ourselves an explosion. Because after all, we need explosions. What will we do without them? Alright. Sonny right here. Runner high five at this point. So we get our canal opened up. And that enables us to sail the boat to the rest of the world. There isn't much of the rest of the world that we can sail it to, but hey, you know, you could at least sightsee. You could actually sail it up to the Citadel of Ordeals, but we use the airship for that instead. Other than that, there's no ports in the north to take the boat to. So yeah, we don't get a lot of use out of this ship. But it's very important for where it takes us. The next stop is going to be the city of Melmond. So you are thusly warned that a Melmond sighting is about to occur. This is going to be significant for our trip to the armor shop, where things get sold off. Well, chat's calling for the puzzle. We'll see if Swanny's feeling it. It's a close race between them right now. So Final Fantasy I has a mini-game on this ship. It is a sliding puzzle, and it's a minimum 30-second investment of time to try for the second place prize of the emergency exit. Here we go. Sonny's going to go for it. So he wants the time to be anything over 30 seconds and under a minute. So he's going to try and get a 30 and change completion here. He wants the second place prize, and in particular what we want to see drop is the emergency exit. If he gets the emergency exit, it's worth minutes of time save in a race that we see currently separated by seconds, just for context. That took a little long. It was 34 seconds, and it goes by too fast for me to see if he got it or not. So chat, help me out on that one. Alright, Chad said he got the Hermes shoes, so he did not get the emergency exit. That's going to give GreenCleric about a 40-second advantage or so. Probably a little less than that, but 36 to 38 seconds probably from the transitions. So the emergency exit item, to put a bow on this, is an item that will give you a one-time cast of exit. The reason that was the point you would go for it is you would use it after the vampire here to save walking out of the Earth Cave. Earth Cave is now notable for a couple of enemies that can be particularly nasty. Real quick, GreenCleric got a preemptive there, which means he's guaranteed to get the runaway. That's what's most significant to us. There's enemies who can poison you here, there's enemies who can stun you here, and there's enemies that can turn you to stone here. We also have the Pisca Demons running around as a random encounter now, instead of sitting as a quasi-boss fight guarding the crown. Gaze is just stun, but we're going to do plenty of damage to this vampire. He doesn't have much resistance to our swords. And once the vampire is down, the way to his chest lays open, and that is going to be a reward of a star ruby. Obviously, the next plot item. There is a lot of variation that can happen in this Earth Cave based upon the enemies that you encounter. Two in particular you don't want to see: the Pisca Demons and the stupid birds that turn you to stone. Even enemies that stun you are generally not going to be that bad. They can be that bad, but usually won't be. Pisca Demons, however, you're going to have to fight them, so they just eat up that extra time. And the stone, that is, yeah, a thing. For Sawney, that was a good example of what stun does. He had 2 party members down. If you have 3 down, you're probably going to result to a judgment staff rather than risk having your whole party stun locked. And I touched on this earlier, but the reason we're doing so much damage right now is they're glitching late game equipment from early game items because of the way the game stores index values. It reverses them between armor and weapons. So our thief is now equipped with the barbarian sword, which was from one of the bonus dungeons, and it's very nice to be swinging around not just an in-game weapon, but from a bonus dungeon content that was added to this version of the game. That works out very well for us. And obviously you want to be able to put that on from the earliest moment that you can. Sawney getting another round with the Pisca Demons. Casting Thunder. Now, they are not weak to Thunder, but the way their stats work, they do not resist it. So as long as the Black Mage is a high enough level, that Thunder will do enough damage to take them out, and that's what happened. GreenCleric hands over the Star Ruby, allowing him to pass the Giant, which means we can advance the game. And this walk has to feel very long for Sawney. He made the gamble, he tried for the emergency exit, didn't get it. I think it's 1 in 6 that you'll get the emergency exit, but not having it just makes this walk feel so much longer when you went for it. What's going on here? Had a delay there? Was that the cutscenes? I don't think that was the cutscenes deal. I think some just held up Cleric for a moment there. Game was still running. There were animations. Just stood there an extra little bit. Alright, Sawney's out of the Earth Cave, moving on towards Sarda's, the Sage's Cave, which is exactly where GreenCleric is now, about to pick up the Earth Rod. A lot of things are interesting about how they programmed this game, even all the way back to the original NES days. They actually put a code check in the game that you could not get that Earth Rod unless the vampire was defeated. Even though you theoretically didn't have access yet, they still put that check in so that if you found some way somehow to break the game and get to the stage before you were supposed to, he still wouldn't give you the Earth Rod. So, just a funny little note about the game. Hashtag things we learn in Randomizer. Alright, Sonny. 2 steps left to get out of this cave, and he just has to get one more encounter. It has been a very active encounter rate in this early game for both of these runners. So right now we've got very good armor, we've got very overpowered weapons. The only thing that can trip the runners up at this stage of the game is status attacks. So even if you're getting a bunch of encounters, you're just happy if you don't see the birds that could turn you to stone, because they can come in large packs and really wreck your day. GreenCleric opting for the safety save here on floor 3. Makes it not that far back if something goes wrong. Piscademons, again, they are an unrunnable encounter, so we've got to take them out. Sawney armed with the Earth Rod. Actually armed with a Barbarian Sword, but has an Earth Rod as a backup. Just in case something goes wrong with the Barbarian Sword, we can hit him over the head with a stick. Something like that. Cleric back through the vampire room and gonna use that Earth Rod to break the evil plate and access the 4th floor of the Earth Cave. The race was Stun Touch. They do favor attacking the party members at the top of your formation. That's why generally they're not that threatening of an encounter, because they're probably not going to go down and attack the mages, which still offers you the chance to run away. However, it still feels annoying when you're in that and they're not letting you get out of the fight. Piscademons actually do have pretty good strength. They can hit for quite a bit. It's just our armor is that good that 2 damage looks like a lot from them. And you can already see how that damage is increasing from the Judgment Staff as our party levels up. Again, we don't need a level grind yet. There will be one forthcoming as part of the run. But right now, just the experience we get from unrunnable encounters is enough. Floor 5 for GreenCleric. Coming up to the boss's room. And you usually see a safety save here, as Cleric does. We're worried about 2 things with Lich, and that is turn order and his ability to use spells, because our ability to resist spells is not that great right now. Here we go with GreenCleric versus Lich. Good turn order, and him using the Stun Touch on the Black Mage does not stop the Barbarian Sword from taking care of business. Lich is down. That was a great fight for Cleric. About as good as you could ask for. 34 minutes. We have our first Fiend conquered and first Crystal restored. We also have to deal with the true final boss of this dungeon, the bats. The bats can very much get in your way. You saw the NPC block back and provoke it for GreenCleric. Oh, what these bats can do. If they happen to stand on exactly the wrong place, they can really cost you some time. Sawney now about to do battle with Lich. Getting here just over a minute behind GreenCleric. And again, Cleric had just a dream fight against Lich. Well, I take that back. Sawney had the dream fight against Lich. That is even better than Cleric saw. Yeah, this is a very definitely a gap. It is a very noticeable gap right now, but it is absolutely within the margin that you can recover it. The hill kick is getting in GreenCleric's way. We're in the Crescent Lake area now. Some different enemies at this point. Also, we have to sit through these cutscenes as these bonus dungeons unlock. We'll have one of these after each fiend. But we're not worried about the bonus dungeons. That's a different category completely. So we had access to Crescent Lake from the time we had the ship. But it didn't really matter. Cleaning out the inventory now to get rid of some of the things that were in stock. Also purchasing some ethers to be good for the rest of the game, I think. And a purchase of the mithril gloves. Also see a purchase of a mithril axe. This is to pick up black garb for the thief and white mage, and a lust dagger for the white mage. Looks like GreenCleric having a little bit of menuing trouble here. Also putting the black garb on the black mage. Okay. Once we get over to the sages, they will give us the canoe and ask us to stop the fiend of fire. It's really more of a suggestion, though. Sawneyrath getting into Crescent Lake right about the time that Cleric leaves it. Canoe helps us cut some time off this trek. Doing a number on GreenCleric's knight. I don't think Cleric will recover the knight at this point. It's a little earlier than you'd like to see the knight go down, but that is part of the run, is taking the knight out of the way. So even if it's not the perfect timing, you'll take it because it's good timing. Mainly where it hurts you is not having the extra person to run away. With no Judgment Staff equipped now, you have to go down to the item menu for it, and that's what GreenCleric's going to do to get out of this fight. It's just a lot of enemies. River encounters will be not terrible because there won't be that big a pack and nothing that does any kind of status effects we're worried about. We will have to worry about status effects, however, in the ice cave. It's going to be very interesting to see how much Sawney has made up here from the menuing, because he's definitely made up time. Both of them with the fighter down right now. And Cleric's gonna get his safety save for Ice Cave done at 418, it looks like. Okay, we got the birds that you don't want to see. There's a couple particularly nasty encounters in this Ice Cave. Pisca demons are unrunnable, but they're not what you're worried about. And Sawney may be a little late to the safety save, but gets it done for 42. So that's about 30 seconds difference. Gets even more of the stupid birds. You never want to see the birds. They can turn you to stone. The other enemy of particular concern... Actually, there's more than one more, but the Mind Flayers are of particular concern because of their AoE trance, which will stun your entire party. And, yeah, they do Death Touch. These White Dragons are also a threat because of that right there, that Ice Storm. And that is why you safety save in Ice Cave. So Sawney, who is actually ahead in the steps at that moment, now has to redo the walk. So Ice Cave is one of the trolliest places you can be in this game. The Ice Dragons, the Mind Flayers, getting these enemies in greater numbers who can stun touch you. I think it's 1 in 4 to recover any given round, but of course they can reapply the stun. So when you have just one party member like this, it just makes a lot more sense to use the Judgment Staff and get out of the fight. And Sawney is still going to be the first one to drop down there, just because the encounters took that much more time for GreenCleric. GreenCleric gets the White Dragon now. Now the trouble with the White Dragon, well, it's not going to be friendly either way, but because it is a runnable encounter, it can actually ambush you, which is not something we want to see. We also have to worry about the Frost Gigas and Wolf formation because those wolves can cast Blizzard as well. We don't want that. Not from an unrunnable formation, but because that one is an unrunnable, it's not quite as threatening because it can't ambush us. Alright, here we go. This is a big point of the game, because not only do we get the Levistone, but we get the Trap Tile with the Evil Eye. That's good RNG for Sawney. He wanted it to take out the Thief in the first round. That's what happened. And now we're going to get a level grind against this Evil Eye. See how it works here for GreenCleric. So they're going to get not all of the levels that these mages need for the end game, but they're going to get most of them and get what sets them up for the end game. Evil Eye going to take out GreenCleric's Thief right away. Now they're both set up for this. There's a lot of stats to be gained here. You do have to be mindful of the fact that that is thin ice. You can just barely see that the tiles look differently from the tiles around them. So you've got a step on either side of where they are, but if they accidentally went down or accidentally went a second step, that would really mess them up. It would take them off the route they need. It would drop them back to the floor that they'd come from, like they did the first time when they came in this room and did it intentionally. In other words, be careful with your menuing. Sawneyrath has hit level 18 now, healing up to get out of this place. And very important, do not forget the Levistone. You do get off-tile encounters here. That part's not ideal, but usually going to be safe. What you do have to worry about is spells coming out. The good thing is with these levels and the stats being raised, they're not as threatening. Alright, now Cleric hitting 18 on the mages, bringing back the Thief, and even throwing in a safety save. You see the flashing animation happening on GreenCleric's side. That's going across ice, which causes damage, but anytime you're on a damage-causing tile, you are also not getting an encounter. So it is nice for that. This is a lot of Dark Wizards for Sawney. GreenCleric, very happy to get away from that Ice Dragon, and extremely happy it wasn't 2 Ice Dragons. Now, that one's in a second fight. It doesn't count. I meant 2 Ice Dragons in 1 fight. 7 Pisca Demons for Sawneyrath. So even though Sawney actually finished the level grind first, it was GreenCleric who got out of the Ice Cave first. Just because the encounters were not kind to Sawneyrath. This has been a back and forth battle all the way. And really the runner's just seconds apart right now. With the Levistone, we now have the ability to pick up our airship. And as you might imagine, that's something we want. The airship is our last means of transport, and thus unlocks the rest of the world. And going to be an almost in-sync pickup of the airship here. Seconds apart between these runners at this point. Our next destination is going to be the Citadel of Trials. It's in the far north, so naturally we'll fly south to get there. That's what happens when the world is round. Although I've heard rumors that the world is square, but I think it's round. The Allosaurus Wyvern formation. It's not what you're worried about in this area. In this area, you have concerns over the sandworm and its ability to cast Earthquake. The Sphinx giving GreenCleric some trouble as he took a second round to get away. We're getting ambushes aplenty right now. Looks like Cleric is going to be the first one to finally get in the Citadel of Trials. Got a hand in the crown to be able to advance. Second part of this dungeon is the Pillar Maze. Maze in quotation marks. All we have to do is take the lower. Of course, we can get encounters, as Sawney does here. The Medusas have the ability to turn your party to stone. The Minotaur zombies are an unrunnable encounter, so you do have to kill them. Something that can just slow you down a little bit, and right now those little bits matter. Mind Flayers, one of the worst encounters you can see. They have two things they do, and neither of which is good. They can cast Trance, which will stun your entire party, or attempt to stun your entire party, or they can attack and potentially death touch you. So, neither option is good. Cleric in his battle number 2 with these nightmares. They are a runnable encounter. There's a lot of times runners like to just attack it anyways, because it's such a high agility enemy that it's you are less likely to succeed in running away. Thus runners prefer the security of killing it. Oh, is Swanee gonna get away with the Black Mage? Yes! It almost cost him an extra turn. Cleric has the Rat's Tail and the Double Zombie Dragon. The Zombie Dragon fight here is going to be unrunnable. Getting 2 of them just means more yummy experience. Cleric's gonna be out of the Citadel. Looks like 51-32. On to bigger and better things. Sonny now picking up the Rat's Tail. Also getting the Double Zombie Dragon. This formation will be 1 to 2 zombie dragons. There's no chance of seeing more of them. And it's a trap tile, so if for some reason you were off on your experience count from the eyes, it is a place you can make up some. About 40 to 45 seconds it looks like between the runners right now. Again, a lot of trading back and forth. And very much within the margin of error right now. Cleric first back into the airship. Gonna turn in the tail. Hey, you try landing an ancient airship. It's not that easy. Oh, the sandworm, this is what you don't want to see, but Swanee gets away. That sandworm, it'll make your breathing stop for a moment as you're waiting to see what happens, because it can wipe out your party. And that last save is pretty far back. Speaking to Bahamut, we get the class change. And everybody gets new outfits. And it's all spiffy. But most importantly to us is the ability now for the ninja to learn spells. The knight can also learn spells. That's not as significant. It does also change what you're allowed to equip per the rules of the game, but considering the equipment glitch, we're not too worried about the, rules thing. They're more of a suggestion. Next is going to be one of our most significant shopping trips of the game. We need the bottle that has the trapped fairy in it, and also these giant tonics, which are going to be key to winning the game. For now, those giant tonics are just going to sit there, but they will absolutely be necessary later. Entering Gaia, the fairy is released. again, just seconds apart from these runners now. Catch up here. The fairy shows gratitude by giving us the Oxyale. That enables us to go to the Sea Shrine. Theoretically giving us, fresh air and things like that. But our next destination is somewhere we were actually already supposed to go according to the game's logic. But hey, again, more of a suggestion. So we're here in the volcano. Every time we're walking across the lava, we are not getting an encounter and not moving closer to the next encounter. Anytime we're on solid ground, don't think you're able to run from that one. Well, you are. Okay, different formation than the one I was thinking of. Have to be careful with those, because sometimes it doesn't have these ogre mages with it, but it is actually the unrunnable formation. You can move through this dungeon very quickly, but because of all the lava you walk through, you do want to be mindful of the fact you can get a random encounter and be at an extremely low HP value. In particular, this floor where Sawney is, you may want to heal up, and that's exactly what Sawney's going to do. So that's a good safety move. And there's a lot of walking on potential encounter tiles on that floor. This is the final floor of the volcano, and it's actually going to be Sawneyrath who's going to be the first to the Fiend of Fire. Oh, the red dragon for GreenCleric. Throwing a blaze out. It's a long way back to that last save, but GreenCleric is through. I think Cleric saved at Citadel, so it wouldn't be a long time back, but would be a significant time loss if that red dragon had somehow gotten the better of him. But Sawneyrath gets the better of Sawneyrath. Has definitely come from behind to take the lead at this point. With Fire Crystal restored, as GreenCleric was a step away from getting into the room, but then the Fire Gigases had to make their presence felt. And you could still theoretically have an encounter before you get out of this room. Alright, Sawneyrath goes down for GreenCleric. Not too much to worry about from this fight. And both of them will be moving on. So big thing you want now is the ability to grab a couple spells. Haste is an important one. Blizzard is a damage one, and it is situationally useful because it speeds up over the Judgment Staff's spell animation time. So if both of them are going to kill your enemy in one turn, you want the one that goes faster. The heal spell, we learned from Melmond, enables us to do healing with the White Mage in battle, obviously. And Teleport will take you back one floor. That will be used for a couple of these dungeons now to make life easier. We'll see Sawney entering the Sea Shrine just after the hour mark. A good eye from chat, noticing Sawney has gotten 260 HP on the Black Mage, which is really good. And considering the Black Mage tends to be on the squishier side, the more HP the better. Entry into the Sea Shrine, going to be 1 hour 25 seconds. This notable for its 2 paths, one leading to the mermaids, one leading to the fiend. Failed to run from the water naga who fires back with a thunder. And Sawney not going to mess around with that now. Definitely takes care of business in round 2. We go to the mermaid section first because it has... Well, this is an unrunnable encounter, the rare water elemental sighting. Rare-ish. Uncommon. Another unrunnable with the Sahagan formation for Sawneyrath, back-to-back. But we come to the mermaids to pick up the Rosetta Stone. We'll also see runners pick up a light axe here, which is used for equipment glitching. Obviously, everything's for equipment glitching. And then we use teleport to speed up our travel here. There's the Rosetta Stone. So now instead of walking all the way back to the staircase, because that's too far, we don't want to do that, we'll teleport instead. And a couple of those save us a whole bunch of steps. And the unrunnables again for Sawneyrath, getting the Sahagan formation. This dungeon has a notable spike in the amount of unrunnable encounters versus what we've seen in the other dungeons to this point. The Sahagans, the water elementals. You can see a whole bunch of encounters here that you can't run from. The white sharks, they may be an okay amount of experience, but we don't really need that. Now, GreenCleric saw the Sahagan Prince along with the white shark, which is a good time to mention that the encounters in this game are by formation instead of by monster. So what that means is, while an enemy might be unrunnable in the all Sahagan formation, when you see it with the sharks, that's a different formation, thus it's runnable instead. So the game forces you to pay attention to your formations instead of just your enemies. As both runners get the light axe. They do some menuing here to get survival vests, lordly robes equipped. It's felt like for the majority of the run, Sawney has had just a bit of an edge on the menuing versus GreenCleric. Now getting closer to the end of this floor, and thus the boss of this sunken shrine, or water cave as some prefer to call it. I don't want to jinx by saying what we haven't seen, but there is a notable encounter that we've not seen from either runners so far. But Sawney is about to take on the most dapper of the fiends, the Kraken. As GreenCleric gets the unrunnable waters, 2 of them in this case. And down goes the Kraken. A little bit worse luck on the encounters so far for GreenCleric after picking up the Light Axe. And that has just traded back and forth between the dungeons. I think Cleric picked up 2 extra fights on this walk versus what Sawney did. Now GreenCleric trying to carve up some calamari here. Let's go to round 2, and that takes care of business. Next destination will be the waterfall up here to the north. Has 2 things we very much want. Now, if you're the kind to root for the rare encounters sightings, the Green Dragon would be the rare encounter we could potentially see in this dungeon. If you want to call this a dungeon, it's only 1 floor. But the Green Dragon, notable for its ability to do damage poison to the whole party. It's quite the strong enemy attack. This is the best of 5 series. Sawney trying to force the game 5. GreenCleric trying to get this done. And this has been very close between the 2 throughout. They have traded the lead back and forth no less than 4 times. And there is plenty of game ahead in the next 20 minutes or so. Oh, that's a bad formation. You really want to run away here. Sawney does not want to see this run fail. Oh, that's bad. Okay, better. Going right for the one who could still get you out of it. Alright, he's good. We're good. It's all good. We get the cube, we get the ribbon. So this is the funny little thing about the equipment glitch. The ribbon is actually the item that we want, but we're going to glitch it in reverse. We're going to turn the ribbon into a weapon. There's a couple reasons for that. 1, we don't want 1 ribbon. We want 4 ribbons. Now the game does have 4 ribbons, but why do all that extra walking and picking them up when we can just get 4 of them from that 1? So you glitch it to the weapon and you glitch it back. Forsyth joining us now in chat. GreenCleric actually has had the lead for the majority of the run. It's Sawneyrath who's made up the time. GreenCleric had as much as a minute 40 lead as Sawney picks up this unrunnable encounter, the Winter Wolf Ice Gigas formation. They did have a runner high five in picking up the light axe. So everything since the light axe has been Sawney. Now we have to translate the Rosetta Stone so that we can actually speak to the supposedly advanced civilization that doesn't know how to communicate with the outside world. So I have my doubts on that whole advanced civilization thing. Yeah, so that ribbon we picked up was glitched into Gigantex. Then that is turned to ribbons for all. So you have to land pretty far away because of all of these forests. The good news is we're not that concerned about encounters here. This would probably be about the most frightening thing we could see, but now that we have the ribbons, they're not as threatening. But the winter wolves with their ability to do AoE attacks, if all 6 of them, or 7 of them, got their AoE off, that could be very terrifying. Things like the Hill Gigas, we're not worried about those. They're not going to do anything to us. The Minotaur zombies and trolls are going to be an unrunnable formation, so GreenCleric will have to waste time using a spell to get out of it. And with the chime, we have our last progression item. And teleport out of here just because it's faster. And another of the unrunnables for GreenCleric. So Sawney got him earlier, GreenCleric getting him now. Oh my, another one for GreenCleric. Early game, it was really Sawney that seemed to be getting more of those. Now it's like the game's paying back GreenCleric a little bit for the early game RNG. So we still have to finish the Mirage Tower and the Chaos Shrine. There's a lot of game ahead. Not seeing the rare encounter here on either runner so far. I mentioned while we were in the Sea Shrine, there was an encounter we weren't seeing. I did not see a ghost show up for either runner. They are very much an enemy that's there, but didn't see it pop up on either runner's side. Alright, a quick jaunt through the Mirage Tower awaits us. None of these early enemies are going to be too scary. But if you're a fan of our favorite war machine, you'll want to be on standby. Good time for preemptives. Anytime you have an enemy that casts an AoE, just the time saved from not sitting through the animations will make it glad for a preemptive. The vampires, they are identical to the vampire that we faced back at Earth Cave. It's just now there's more than one of them. And this trap tile has the blue dragon. And goodbye, blue dragon. That is, of course, an unrunnable encounter, as most of the trap tiles are. Some Black Knights in our way. Yeah, we're not too worried about that. Just a couple floors to walk through here. The preemptives for Sawney have been very nice in this dungeon so far. The Evil Eye, same as what we fought in the Ice Cave. It is an unrunnable encounter, so you have to kill it, but hey, you get a nice chunk of experience for doing so. The maze floor, not much of a maze, you just have to go over 2 and up or down, either up or down 2. Sawney going for the 2 right, 2 up method. Whatever method you take doesn't really matter. I've become a fan of the upright method because then you can't lose count, basically. This is the floor of Warmech, so if you're rooting for the RNG, this is the time to do it. Air elementals are a runnable encounter, so we will move on quickly. GreenCleric also getting an Evil Eye along the way. And here is our Fiend of Air, Tiamat. We've got haste and we've got good turn order, so haste going off on the ninja. Nice chunk of damage there. Excellent RNG that Tiamat goes for the attack, because attacks are faster than spell animations. Sawneyrath is through. Still a slight chance of Warmech. There's a few possible encounter tiles before we get off this floor. As Cleric starts through the Bridge of Destiny. The Nacho. We're not worried about those. And a hero run across the bridge, getting only the 1 encounter up to Tiamat. And at one of the higher encounter rate areas of the game. So, outstanding RNG through there. Tiamat did Thunder. Took out the Black Mage. That's not good. Probably makes you happy you got that extra eye fight. But also the spell animation, so a big difference in the Tiamat fights for Cleric versus Sawneyrath. And here we go. The Chaos Shrine and the Time Warp awaits us. All our equipment glitching is done. We're set up, and now we just have to worry about the trek through the dungeon with the most unrunnable encounters in the game. So there is a lot of room for variance here. So although Sawney getting in here with the lead, make no mistake, this is very much within the margin for error. Plenty of unpleasant encounters we can get along the way. Up to the 3rd floor. Gas dragons are a possibility. The white dragon's a possibility. There's the green dragons, so this is unrunnable. And they cast AoE damage that can be quite annoying. The good news is they're vulnerable to ice. Sawney quickly takes care of business with them. And, say about 45 seconds, it looks like. Maybe a minute between Sawney and Cleric right now. I didn't write down timestamps, shame on me. But very close between the two. Loot versus Time Gate. Dragon zombies are unrunnable, but not at all threatening to us. Just taking a little bit of time. Oh, 4 white dragons. This is a very threatening encounter for GreenCleric. Wants to see the runaway, gets it. 4 ice storms, even 3 ice storms could be very deadly to this party. Cleric gets away. Chimeras this time. They're going to throw out Blaze. Not as threatening, but it can add up. Ice Gigas Winterwolves for Sawneyrath, they are unrunnable, so you have to do a spell to get past them. I was thinking GreenCleric might use a spell just to make sure he got out of that one, rather than risk getting another round of Blaze for the time it could consume. Right now, these runners know how close they are, so every time something happens that eats up time, it's probably feeling like 10 times the length it is. If something takes a second, it probably feels more like 10. If it takes 5 seconds, it feels like almost a minute. Just so close between them right now. Sawneyrath is onto the earth floor, so now different encounters. The earth Medusas, they can turn your party to stone. Sawney's out of that. The earth elementals will be an unrunnable encounter, if we see them. Getting a hero run through that section. Clay golems, nothing notable about them. Nothing for our purposes. Clay and stone, perfectly fine. And gets an encounter 1 tile away, which happens to be the earth elementals. Next tile will be the boss. Sawney did a safety save on the 3rd floor. You could consider a safety save there, but I guess he figures the last one is good enough. Oh, fantastic round 1 from Lich, not using a spell. GreenCleric getting even more unrunnable encounters as Sawneyrath gets through Lich. Great Lich RNG there for Sawneyrath. The lava worms, not the worms we're particularly worried about. Fire elementals would be the only unrunnables on this floor. Rare red dragons would be noteworthy if we encounter them. But almost to the boss here. Earth elementals for GreenCleric. He's definitely seen more unrunnables than Sawney has at this point. Sawneyrath, not really one we're scared of. Just gotta do enough damage. And there's enough damage for Sawneyrath. There, gets away from the Medusas. 2 steps from Lich gets the Earth Elementals. So that was actually a shield block for that first move from Hope, which is the ribbon, so you get that animation instead. It's one of the reasons why we only use 3 armor slots early. This is unrunnables, the water for elementals, but they are vulnerable to ice. Swanee should be fine here. As Cleric, dealing with Lich. Very good damage round 1, taking care of business. Lich is capable of casting Flare, so both our runners getting very good RNG there. Sonny, about to do round 2 with Kraken. Kraken trying to punch like Kraken does. Can't do much against our armor, though. Gonna go to round 3. And there it is. Cleric working through the fire floor. Almost up to Merilith. And gets there without another encounter now, as Sawney is onto floor number 4. Little bit of concern for Tiamat. Big jump in the HP for Tiamat. Sawney doesn't get the good turn order there, so haste not in effect for round 1. Thunder coming out from Tiamat. This is where you're going to be happy for that HP of the Black Mage. Sawney got some really good rolls on the HP. As GreenCleric gets the water elementals. Black Mage is down. And Tiamat is down. You would have liked the Black Mage to survive there, but it's okay. At this point, just don't die. Also, if you're a fan, that is a runnable formation for GreenCleric because of the Nagas being there. If you're rooting for rares, still a chance for Iron Golems, but no, not for Sawneyrath today. We've definitely seen Iron Golems happen in this tournament. A couple of times, in fact. Some final equipment setups, healing before the final boss, and Sawney didn't safety save there, unless I missed it before he did the menuing. Wow. Alright. Cleric through Kraken. I hope I missed the safety save. Because Chaos is the final boss for a reason. Cleric up to Tiamat. Alright, Giant's Tonic is essential part of the run. Oh, round 1 attack from Chaos is nice. The Giant's Tonic enables us to increase the HP of our party members, thus they have enough to survive Chaos's spells. The more Chaos attacks, the better that is for our runners. And it's set up so that the White Mage will take their turn last, letting us get this heal off every round. Great point in chat. Sawney was actually short of the MP for the ninja being able to cast haste, so the Hermes shoes actually end up making the puzzle pay off. It saved Sawney a round in this fight. So that's going to be a lot more damage output from the Black Mage as a result. GreenCleric did the early safety save. Well, he might have already done the menuing too, but the ideal time is going to be like right in that room, so it takes you less time to walk back in if something goes wrong. But Sawney has the setup here. As long as things hold out in good shape to finish this off. And the damage just keeps adding up. The more you see Chaos melee, the better that is. It's just less time that the fight takes for our runners. And obviously today, every second matters. Earthquake, the ribbon gives us protection from that insta-death. And Chat giving us plenty of GGs for Sawneyrath. Well earned. We are tied at 2 matches apiece between these runners. Game 5 has been forced. This could not have been a much closer match throughout. Now we'll follow it through as GreenCleric tries to wrap this one up. Sawneyrath, on a scale of 1 to 10, is your heart rate at 150 right now?
More like 170. I can feel my pulse in my temples, in my wrists, in my fingertips, in my feet. Like, I can feel my pulse all over my body right now.
All right, I got to give credit to this for Tokahur, but a fantastic observation. You are actually ended up being short on MP for the ninja to cast haste, but those Hermes shoes from the ship puzzle coming through for you to give you that extra haste.
They worked, and I remembered that I got the Hermes shoes from the puzzle, and I was like, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm using the item. I'm making this happen. And I made it happen.
Slow coming out from Chaos, but it only goes against the Black Mage, so that's not that bad for GreenCleric. I mean, this race changed hands so many times, and GG for GreenCleric. Finishing this one up. Let me get the official times here, because I didn't mention yours yet either. Your official time was 1:30:19, GreenCleric with a 1:32:06. So, this traded back and forth a bunch. It seemed like the menuing was really on point tonight and made a big difference.
Yeah, the only menuing I felt bad on was C and little bit of Crescent. Not too terribly much on Crescent, but C I had a blaring mistake on that I corrected as quickly as I could. The ribbon menu went super smooth. The menu before Chaos went super smooth. The very first menu was probably the fastest that I've done, with only one mishap. And my Judgment Staff menu felt really nice, excluding equipping the leather cap by accident.
Well, you hoped for the Game 5. You're going to get the Game 5. Any word on that yet, or still out between you two?
We are going to have to figure that out, honestly.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm hoping that we can do Game 5 on Wednesday, hopefully at the same time. But I imagine we'll figure that out very shortly.
And there's GreenCleric, GG.
Thank you. Whew.
Well, it was close throughout, and you ended up having the runner high five even all the way to Chaos. So there was a lot of that going on today.
Oh yeah. That was just. I knew at the end, it wasn't. RNG wasn't the best. I knew at the end though, start of Chaos Temple, that was like, yeah. I knew it was over. I knew, well, not over, but I knew you kind of needed some bad luck at Chaos, and didn't quite happen.
Actually, that does bring up a question for me. Did you remember the safety save for Chaos?
I think so.
Cleric,
I did it.
Cleric did it
yeah,
at the start of the floor. I don't think I saw it for Sani.
I never did the Chaos safety save because I knew with my Black Mage, my HP was at a good point that it wasn't going to die. The only thing that could have killed it is if Chaos meleeed, but Chaos went for the White Mage off the bat. My Ninja could have died to a Chaos melee, but that would have been the worst case scenario. Overall, I didn't have worst case scenario happen. I actually had second worst case scenario, and was able to just continue trucking on through that.
GreenCleric, anything in particular about the run stand out to you?
I just felt it was one of those runs where you look at the time at the end, you go, okay, 132, and it's like, that didn't feel like 132. That felt like 142. Just nothing really nothing really major execution-wise, just some sucky RNG, as typical with the game sometimes. There were... Ice Cave was ridiculous, especially where it's basically at the end, it's like, okay, keep running from the white dragons, because apparently they just like to follow me. And then you get the red dragon as well in Volcano. For some reason, I just liked attracting dragons today. I think I got all four. White, red, green, blue.
I think you did.
Automatic. Blue's automatic, bingo. So yeah, I mean, just some weird encounters in there. I mean, I don't know. It was just a really weird run. It just never felt like I had a great stretch of anything. Not that, I mean, I thought its execution was fine. Like, nothing much I could have done. I mean, Sawney had, he had the zero encounter volcano, like he said. He had great water. I mean, you know, that's one of those runs where it's just like consistency. I mean, it's gonna pay off more often than not, and I think Sawney did. You took a different approach than you did last night, and it really paid off for you.
Yeah, it helps that I wasn't on tilt tonight. Also, you ready for a good laugh, Cleric?
Go ahead.
So I had a white dragon encounter in ice, and I went to kill it. It got initiative on me, ice stormed me, put me behind you. You got an ambush. I had like 2 really good hero runs on my way back to the grind, and managed to get back ahead of you by some method.
Was the white dragon, was that a wipe?
It was a wipe, and I went back to the start of Ice Cave, but I wiped before I dropped down.
Yeah, that was the Levistone room when you first got there.
Oof. Okay, Ice Cave for me was basically bunch of unrunnables, bunch of psycho demons, 3 white dragon encounters. One I just froze and I just killed it. The other 2 I managed. The other 2 were on the escape. So the last 2 encounters I had before leaving it were both white dragons. I'm like, you're kidding me. The game does not want me to succeed today. And then there was also a near paralock, and yeah, it was Ice Cave was really fun, really fun. So that's probably how you still got ahead of me after all that.
By the way, shoutouts to you for running away from Ice Dragon's wall in Ice Cave.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had healed up, so I mean, I was at full health, so I mean, if it didn't work out, I don't think it would have been horrible. I mean, the first encounter was basically no. First encounter was like, okay, you're there, I have less daggers, I'm gonna kill you, please don't get initiative, thank you, okay, move on, run. Yeah, but then, I don't know, it was a really weird run. Like I said, it's bad enough to get 1 white dragon in Ice Cave, you get 3, including the last 2 that you get out there, I mean, ugh. Yeah, so like I said, there's a reason that you still got ahead of me. It was... yeah.
Well, with that, I guess we'll start with Swanee. Any final thoughts tonight?
I said there was going to be a Game 5, and now there's going to be a Game 5. Fate has not led me astray.
I don't like your predictions, because for some reason...
He didn't predict he would win the Game 5. He just predicted it would happen.
Well, he predicted a Game 5, and now he's predicting some sort of apocalyptic event or something like that. I haven't.
Wait, are you predicting we get Warmech? Because I'm for that.
I would like to see Warmech, honestly. If I see a mech, I will be so happy.
Okay, I'll ask you a question then. You see a Warmech, you killing it?
I haven't quite decided on that yet.
Spur of the moment, right?
If I'm far enough ahead, because I will make a safety save on our next race. Even if I'm not far enough ahead, I will still attempt to kill it. I will give the fans an attempted Warmech kill.
I wish you the best of luck.
Not gonna match the pledge.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we'll put it this way. I'll have the stream up. I'll safety save as well, and you know what? First one who gets it, whatever happens, happens.
That works.
And if you get one, then whatever you do, I do. So if we both get one, I see you ran first. Sorry, not matching you.
That's fine.
Well, we thank you both for a very hype race. Game 5 has been forced. Make sure you keep an eye on things. I do not have the right copy pasta. Shame on me, because I want to link the Discord, and so I'm vamping while I get that link. There we go. All the links in chat. Check things out. Plenty of fun ahead. Hope you'll join us for the rest of it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Game 5 is forthcoming between these two, and hope everybody has a good night.